Welcome to Why, Who, Where, the podcast that looks at success the way it should really be looked at. Join your host, Zubin Shroff, as he takes you through conversations with our guests.
Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Hiroshige Sugihara, or Hiro as he is known to many. He was a curious child, and that was further fueled when he was shipped off to the US to study by his parents. Landing there, in the days when sushi was still unknown to many, Hiro quickly became popular for his uncanny impression of the legendary Bruce Lee. Playing rugby and jamming in a rock band to Led Zeppelin in high school helped add to his charm. But a deep connection to his Japanese roots prompted him to return to Japan and build a future in his homeland. Armed with an ultra-positive attitude, he embarked on a career in sales, starting in the telecom industry before moving to technology giants of the time like EMC, Cisco, and HP. Eventually, he joined Oracle Corporation, where he rose to become president and CEO. After Oracle, he took on the role of chairman and CEO of Geo Technologies, guiding them through critical growth phases. While doing all this, he continues to be a visiting professor at Tohoku University. Being the humble man that he is, he attributes all the success to him being plain lucky. But something tells me he's not done yet, for he personifies the Japanese values of overcoming status quo and pursuing improvement and growth. Welcome, Hiroshige Sugihara. Sugihara-san, very warm welcome. Thank you for making the time to speak with me. I've known you since you were president and CEO of Oracle Japan, and then chairman and CEO of Geo Technologies in Japan. I now know you as a friend. You're very kind to give me that space in your very, very illustrious relationships that you have with many, many people. I would like to start our discussion today from your early years. I would really like the people watching this to understand your journey. Start from your early years, school, college, education, growing up, and probably how your career came about.
Okay. Well, it's a very long history.
Yes.
Almost, I went to college, in the West Coast. I wanted to learn something, from America. I came from Osaka city of Japan.
Right.
Small town.
Right.
And then my parents asked me to go overseas, watch things, and learn something else. So I was always practicing judo, kendo, and then rugby, football, and then playing in a band, music, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that. So I never really seriously studied hard. So I didn't have any goal or what I wanted to be. So let's go to America.
Right.
With the dictionary. We didn't have that was a long time ago. So the English-Japanese dictionary, left pocket of my back, and then Japanese-English dictionary. And then when I get to the immigration, I look into the dictionary, and then to express what is my family name, and then first name, or
right.
surname, or whatever they call it, last name.
Right.
Okay. So that was a start. And I went to America, and then I've been having, the good time in America. And then all of a sudden, they read so many books because my roommate was the book reader and geek.
Right.
And then I was doing the imitating Bruce Lee at the time. Okay.
Right.
So you look good. Every Asian looked, the Bruce Lee at
right.
that time, whatever.
Right.
So in college, you get, the pretty good, the friend, because I imitate Bruce Lee and stuff like that. And at that time, there were no sushi or anything else. Nobody ate raw fish at that time in America.
Wow.
No internet, WWW, World Wide Web, no internet.
Yeah.
We write in paper
Yes.
and sent to my home, the mother, the letter asking for the money. Well, anyway, I've decided, to come back to Japan, and I got to do something else because I found out my identity is a Japanese. And then I got to do something else. I need to learn more about the Japanese society, the way they do the business. Otherwise, I don't know anything else about Japan. And then my strength is the Japanese, being as a Japanese, and I'm native in the Japanese language.
Right.
So I can differentiate it. So I decided to come back, and I quit, the college, because I was, studying business administration, political science, and then,
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
Right.
And then I got tired of it, and then because I want to be something like a business person,
Right.
that I can hire the lawyers, that I can hire, the accountant, I can even give influence to the politicians. So the businessman is my key.
Right.
So went back to Japan, and then I was searching, doing the job hunting. I quit, the college, didn't get the degree. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not an engineer, and I'm an artist, kind of a, I like a music, the kind of a teenager type, the person. You can see, we are at this Harajuku, so many people walking. If you throw the stone, there are many people like me, young people, who is looking for what do they want to do, what they want to be, Anyhow, I have decided, okay, the highest, the pay it could be was a direct salesperson of the telephone system for the small, mid-sized business.
Right.
At that time, it was 82, and then I, joined a company, startup, very, very startup company, because of the telecommunication revolution from the analog, and then government regulation is deregulating, and then it is going to be free. What the telephone system equipment, that you use it, and then it coming to the ISD and digital, analog to the digital. It was a big wave, but I didn't know, what the hell is that? I mean, I just want to get something very good, the pay. That was a start. So I joined, I became a salesperson, and then I knocked the door every day, almost 30, 40, 50, the doors every day.
Right.
And then write my, the kind of opportunities one by one, by hand and by walking. And then I get no every time I visit. But 1 out of 100, you see good people. And then they listen to me. And I learned a lot from those startup or the small companies, business people that, they trust, and then listening to the what is really they are looking for. And they are always busy. But, I see the timing of the meeting with the key decision person. So I go to the morning or the night or the lunch break, and then I start selling it. That's the start of my, the entire business career. Selling.
And you started in sales, which is at the very front end of the building, right? So
sales is, basically that, you are renting from the business phone from a government, the telecommunication, which is a NTT, at that time. And then everybody have to, they get, those business phone from a government. Deregulating, it means that you can pick whatever you want to use the telephone device. Very, the wise and nice, with at the same price. So I said, all I do is, it's the same price. Would you like to have a better one? So the architecture of the business is very simple. But what I liked was to meet all those decision maker in the apparel industry, any kind of industries, even the lawyer, the law firm or the accounting firm, or the any, the restaurant, whomever used the telephone system for the business. So that was the start. I worked like almost 12 years. And that company went to the IPO very fast, fastest in the Japan's history. And then, that fall, the company, we made a joint venture with the Son-san of the SoftBank.
Right.
Long time ago.
Right.
Oh, by the way, I was having a dinner with the Miyauchi-san, who is the right-hand man of the Son-san. We were talking about a long time ago, the things, about how we, they worked so hard, but having fun of the telling new people, new regulation, everything new. So that was
So it
the
was
basic things.
It was basically the time of no CRM, no technology,
No technology.
everything in the
No Macintosh.
no
No
iPad,
no
iPad,
no iPad. Everybody have a the big table of the desk, and then ring the
phone.
bell, and then you pick up the phone. Hey, this is ABC company. May I help you?
Yes.
That was the history. But it is getting to. I was involved to the big technology shift from analog to the digital. And then ISDN, and then digital to the analog. So my position was, there was a fantastic machine called a facsimile.
Yes.
It was made in Japan, know. And then a facsimile, wow, you can send, the one piece of the paper over their telephone.
Yes.
Took about 3 minutes,
I've used them a lot. So it was the main tool of digital communication, at one time.
But you see, I went to sell the facsimile machine, and then everybody told me, hey, Sugihara-san, I don't need it because, I have no one have that same machine to be able to receive my paper.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't need it. Then I figured out to go to the top of the notch, which is a big, the company, and then have many, the factory or the many, the related, the partner business people. So I asked, if you are having so much of the time and the resources spending to communicate with the invoice or the many specifications which they ask for it, the manufacturing, the parts and bits and all those things. And then, you can send at the same one time. So you don't have to mail and then by envelope, or you don't have to go.
Right.
So they recommend it. And then everybody wants to get the business. So people start buying the machine.
What would you call a defining moment in your career? I mean, of course, starting out in sales, in technology, all the communication technology. What would you consider to be the moment where you think your career took a steep curve upward?
Well, the later you look, when you look back, maybe you think, okay, this is the one, this is the one. But when you are doing it, you never recognize it.
Yes.
Where you are and then what you are going to see in the future. So every momentum, when I recall it, is that, wow, this is a new thing. This is a key to me. So when I get this job, at the Fobo, long time ago, wow, this is a revolution of the telecommunication. And then after that, I met with the company called the Intertel, which is out of Phoenix, Arizona. And then I had, the founder of the company, they became a friend. And then he wants to start, the computer telephony integration things,
right.
CTI. And then also the voice over IP.
Right.
Wow, you can talk over the internet.
Yes.
And then I decided to move on. After the 12 years with a Fobo Japanese company, I was so excited. So I didn't even think about anything else but, wow, this is a new things,
Right.
It is going to change the world. So I took the job. So, and then later, I did not know the way the very big, the company, they conduct the business, how they do it for the enterprise, the level people, because I was almost doing the small, mid-sized, the company, or even Soho people. I liked it very much because of it's a people, the relationship things. But, how are you going to sell more big systems or the big things to the large enterprise things? So I, moved up to the EMC Corporation, which is out of Hopkinton, the Boston.
I worked there as well.
Massachusetts.
Yes.
You
Yes.
So EMC was, from a mainframe to the open, it was a big, movement
Yes.
for the disk.
Yes.
I didn't know that,
Yes.
but it just, hit me, wow, this is a wow, the new things, and challenge it. So that's the every time I was in the path of the technology, kind of a evolution, and then I was in the middle of that. And
One
now
of the things I noticed, I've known you now for some time, and I, with all respect to a lot of Japanese executives, I've seen very few who are as tech savvy as you are. The amount of technology you use. I mean, you even take your notes using an Apple Pencil. I mean, they would love. They probably have you as a brand ambassador, but you have been a very hands-on person from everything I have seen. And how did that, in a culture where people have EAs and secretaries and admins to do their, memos and letters and everything else, were you always like that, or has that been an evolution where you were hands-on?
Hands-on. If you don't, I don't understand. Some people ask me, the hands-on.
Yes.
The word of the hands-on.
Yes.
I didn't understand the definition of the hands-on.
Right.
Okay, because of that, I came from a small business.
Yes.
I was selling.
Yes.
All the president of the company, mamas and papas in shops,
Yes.
they are all hands-on.
Yes.
Every family business was a hands-on.
Yes.
So it just doesn't make any difference to me how large the enterprise is, because I'm, everybody having fun by creating business, or when I say creating business means that you have many thank you from the customer.
Yes.
You feel good about it. And then when you play in music in front of everybody else, you feel the vibrations of kind of having same empathy or
The joy.
Joy.
The experience
Right.
that they're having.
And
Yes,
which
absolutely.
which you cannot buy
Yes.
by the money or anything else.
Yes.
So it is so natural to me to do the hands-on.
Yes.
I mean, hands-on, and then also the let the people does it for you is a different, the things.
Yes.
So because I cannot do everything else for the 2,000 people's, the job. So, but I do as a leader, you got to do, if there is a word of the saying hands-on, it is so natural. You got to do what you need to do.
Yes.
But if you cannot, you need to find somebody else that, would you please, they take care of this position, and then let's work it out together.
Yes.
So came from a different maybe culture, or came from a different, the business, the kind of how do I say experience,
Right.
I didn't, they joined the company as one of the gear of the entire mechanism, but that's what I think.
You just mentioned about how every role, and that answer is so pertinent, because every new opportunity is a big break, right? So people often wonder, like, oh, that was the defining moment. But every moment is a defining moment if you make it into one, right? And how about challenges? Was there ever a time you had to go from telco to EMC, and then, and then into an HP, and then into an Oracle, which was software, and HP, which was predominantly systems and what have you? So either in these moves or even in terms of adapting, what have been the challenges? And was there ever a moment where you felt that, oh, this is really tough, or this is really
I never felt that way.
Right.
I like to learn something new.
Right.
So every company is a globally successful business and technology.
Correct.
And learning those is so fun to me.
Right.
So maybe people didn't like me because of I was just, they're so into it. And then I didn't really care about the people's, how do I say, be nice to the people and then go in, drink and then eating, with your colleague and stuff like
Yes.
that. If I want to do it, I do it. But, I don't want to be, I don't get into the bureaucratic, the things.
Yeah. The patronizing.
That yeah. But I'd like to, of course, I do it, for my boss and all those, my SEs, all those people, because I have to create a team that can deliver the things for the customer.
Right.
So the customer or partner will like us.
Right.
Means it becomes a PO. It means they are happy. Means repeatedly PO.
Yes.
And then in terminology, we call it, the ARR, recurring revenue.
Yes.
These modernized, the business.
Yes. That's the new terminology, but repeat business or PO purchase order is what.
Yeah. Customer success.
Customer success.
TCE, total customer experience. But, it is so nice to have that kind of a wording, which a big American IT company created. But, it has been doing many, many years, even in Japan or anywhere. If somebody listening this, the podcast, is that it's basically the same. Many people ask me, I change a lot, the company, they change it. You don't have to be with one company, if you don't like it or if you find something new, because only don't change it is that your customer should be a human being.
Yes.
Not a dog or the cat or the cow or animal. If you are selling something, the things or the service or anything else to the human being, it's the same human being.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I think,
Absolutely.
And then I think about it deeply, if this is going to be good for you or your family or your friend or somebody else like it, then it's a good joy,
Yes.
Good things.
Yes. I think we keep seeing now, people, there was a time in Japan where people wouldn't move, lifetime with the same company. And now we are seeing more and more. And I think it's been driven by technology companies where people are, I keep saying this, 2 is the new 5, 2 years is now the new 5 years, right? Where people are probably moving every 2-3 years even. But your point is great, because if that's what the times are, then move with the times, and move with the technology and the speed at which. What do you think of how technology is, one is the pace at which it is moving. What do you see? Where do you see all this going? What's your view of the future, and particularly how this is going to impact, people starting careers, people looking for work, and all those things? What is your thought?
Well, I think, the human society, the business, whatever politics or whatever you call it, is that we are in need of the increasing the productivities.
Yes.
Each person or every year's productivities, because of it's saturating. And then Japan is facing aging issue.
Right.
But if you want to keep up, what you have right now, with lesser people, less and less people, older, getting, the old. So I cannot run right now. I used to do running 40 years ago when I was doing rugby football.
Right.
So it is so clear that, we need to increase the productivities, right?
Yes.
And that's what the people need, right?
Right.
You want to be happy. You want to be comfortable. You want to be peaceful. And then mindfulness and stuff like that. People ask so many things to do, right?
Correct.
At the same time, today is so hot, humid.
Yes, I've never seen Japan.
My plant is all died, because of the the heat and temperature. And then all over, this planet is having some, the issue about, the nature things. We need to cope with something else. We need to cope with the food. We need to cope with the communication. How are we going to do it? In that case, the little bit in depth of the business of the technology, it is getting more bigger, megatons of the data.
Yes.
Is going to be processed by automated by the computer things, and then like a neural of the brain, human beings.
Yes.
Which is imitating, right? Humans, the organs, which we call it generative AI.
Yes.
And then it's go to the GPU.
Yes.
NVIDIA, stuff like that. But it is going to consume double, triple of the electricity, a lot.
Yes.
I myself did a 19-inch rack, I set it up for my customer. Every, even a bread making company or the trading company or the stock exchange company or the banking or the auto company, I sold a lot of the servers, networks, and storage, middleware, ERP, SCM, whatever you can call it, but it is all operated by the electricity.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
And then what are we going to do with the electricity?
Correct.
So the with the 100 watt or the 1 kilowatt or whatever the the same energy, we're going to do triple and then quadrant of the better job.
Yes.
Which is the productivity, I believe.
Right.
So whatever the productivity is per the kilowatt, or the maybe productivity or the per person, or the something the technology is going to be more tendency going to do the something good for the people.
Right.
That's what I think the technology is going to be. Quantum computer is going to be good. Maybe the water cooling, the large server system.
Yep.
The rather than the fun things.
Yes.
Or the maybe very smart middleware.
Yes.
Or the API, which is going to be the multi-cloud solution, rather than the locked into the one cloud solution, and then that's as I was the
plus hybrid as
right.
well, right?
The hybrid, because I am tied into the one cloud vendor.
Yep.
Because my company's IT guys, they like it very much,
right?
And then we cannot get out,
right?
And then it's up to them how much they're going to charge us,
right?
That's pretty scary. And
it
also
is, yes.
Yeah, and then also that the security of the data,
yes,
and what they're going to do, and so many things we need to cope,
right?
But the basic thing is that the people are working very hard to increase the productivities, I think.
Right. Who were you talked about how your parents sent you to America, and clearly they had a big part to play in your success because you speak fluently. Maybe you taught yourself, but I guess if you didn't have that environment, you would have stayed in Japan and probably not learned as much English as you have. So they played a part, but who were the other people who were your mentors, or who were the people that played a part in your career and your growth?
When I was the college, the kind of a teenager to the mid 20s, I had many the concern and issues and the things. I had the maybe 30 years, 40 years. I don't know the age of that person, but he's from Italy,
right?
And Italian.
Yes.
So I asked him, what to do. Do whatever you want. He always said, that's what the Italian. You think so serious. Japanese always think serious.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes. Even today.
Even today. So I had a good, the mentor who is Italian. I like Italian people. So
right.
When I get to the dark things, they go talk to the Italian. They don't care,
they take it easy.
Yeah.
They even have long vacations.
Nowadays, I read the book about the Zen or the Buddha or whatever. When I read a book about the Steve Jobs things, or when I had a talk with Larry Ellison, he was mentioning about that things. I'm learning from the foreigner about the Japanese, those, the things, which is I'm so Americanized, when I was young.
Right.
So it's kind of a, the coming back,
Full circle.
like a karma things, it's interesting. But having good, the friend, like, from Mexico or from China or the Asian, the Thai, Singapore, when I was at the international, student at the America in a college,
Yeah.
I met many, the people, kind of, the diversity things. But to me, when you are teenager, you never think about, the diversity or anything else. It is like, I like this guy or bad guy, sometimes you fight or sometimes you talk and then you learn a lot. The guy from Chicago, who is a Polish American, and then always we pick on him on Polish jokes,
Right.
And
nobody felt bad.
Yeah,
nobody felt bad
right.
that time.
And then the people they pick on me about what is Hiro? This is black paper. My favorite is the seaweed. The rice cracker with the black paper. They
Yes.
take off the black paper and then eat the rice cracker.
Eat the rice, yes.
At that time, okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What are you doing? What are you doing? Is you got to eat the black paper. They eat it.
Right.
Why? This is the most the good things, and then you get high. So they start eating. So they get high. They never get high, but they feel like they get high by having a nori. The black seaweed.
Right. Right.
Stupid things we've done. The teenagers.
When you look back at your entire and very successful career, is there anything you would have done differently? Like if you could go back and change something that you did or do it differently?
I cannot do that, because if I go back to the past and then do differently, I'm going to change the world,
Right.
That's a time, the shifting, the things like, the H.G. Wells,
Yes.
wrote in the book things, I didn't, I maybe do things, but, everything I do is coming from my soul and spirit, not the calculation.
Wonderful.
So the planning is always I get to the plan A or B or C or Z.
Right.
I mean, not really Z is a worst case,
Right.
But so I try to put it to the don't be depressed. You always pretend like you have a plan B.
Right.
And that's what I found, I learned from all those, the very famous entrepreneur, they always have a plan B. And then always I ask, what is a plan B? And then let's figure out.
Yes. Like have a plan B, but stay focused on plan A.
Yeah.
Right. Like make plan A work.
But what it is that the kind of the adaptation, and then also that the plan B means that keep progressing. That's my definition.
Right.
So the plan doesn't stay as it is. As time goes by, it's keep changing it. So there is always plan B or C, and that is the planning progression things.
Right.
But how you think is very important. If your plan A didn't go well or didn't work, don't be depressed or don't stop doing your plan.
Right.
Because you always required by God or the Buddha or anybody else, that you gotta go take a look at the plan B, execute the plan B, and that plan B become a plan C, and then D and E, F, and then that is what in my definition, it's called a progress.
Right.
Keep changing it.
Right.
By learning from a mistake or the learning from the reason why it didn't go well as an original plan.
Right. I probably have two more questions. Have you ever had like a mantra or a belief or, I had a guest who the other day said, keep moving forward always. And there are different people who have different ideology. What was the thing you said to yourself every time you needed to pick yourself up or go forward or, inspire yourself?
It's every time it change.
Hmm.
Sometimes, the good movie, watching movie is going to inspire me. Like, the One Piece, it's an animation.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of the courage and then also energy.
Right.
Or from a book or from something else, but I've been, the searching that, the answer, that there are always many ways. And then there is, we know that the answer is not only one answer. And so figure out, okay, if this way doesn't go well, let's try to this one. Let's try to this one.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is probably my last question for this discussion. Before that, I do want to say I've seen you at Oracle when you were wearing a suit, because that was it was the big enterprise organization. And then when I met you at Geo for the first time, you were wearing a polo neck with a jacket. And I still remember you said, I work now with 500 young engineers, so we've got to become younger. They can't, and that was how you were adapting to your new work environment and your organization. So I guess you do live the philosophy that you preach, which is changing with the times and with the situations. What advice, if you were to give one piece of advice to youngsters today who are in early or even mid-career, what is it that you would tell them about life and success?
Life and success.
Well, how to go about, everyone has doubt.
Well, to the young people, they who wear the t-shirts and jeans, right?
Yes.
I mean, what's the movie of Al Pacino? No, Al Pacino じゃなくて、誰だ? Well, I forgot, but
The Intern?
Intern.
Yes.
I mean, so buy really expensive tie and then suits and the good shoes and shirts, the one, and sometimes you wear it.
Yes.
You feel like very strong.
Yes.
I've been wearing like over 30 years because that is my armor to get out of the house. And then I have 7 enemies. That's the Japanese old saying.
Right.
Once you get out of the house, you have 7 enemies. I don't know 7, how many, who they are, but 7 enemies. So you wear the suits and nice tie, and then you feel really, the kind of energetic, okay, I'm going to fight. And then at the end of the day, your tie is like this, and then you're going, coming back to the home, and then you just, dive into the bed and sleep. But, sometimes because of the, they kind of make the rhythm also distinguish from what you have been doing to the something, try to new things. I always try to do it.
Right.
So always t-shirts, nice, the easy to wear it. You don't have to even think about it. But sometimes you wear the suit, or the pinstripe, or what color of the tie, what color of the shirts, and then shoes and all those things. You think a lot.
Yes.
That might be different, the brain part is going to be used, especially the engineering people, because those engineering programmers will have to think about how the people think, and then use the artificial intelligence to adopt it, or they maybe even make another humans, many another humans, artificial humans, that I can say, and then make the kind of a process change, or the process innovation, or the evolution of the process of the entire business. That is going to happen. But, the good old things is going to give you something new hint about that. That's my, maybe, the recommendation, advice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Sugihara-san, thank you so much for making the time. Every time I sit with you, I learn something, and this has really been very, very enlightening to hear your journey and all your experiences. On behalf of all the viewers and everyone watching this podcast, I thank you
Thank you very much.
Very, very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dubin.
Thank
And
you.
then I'm not sure my English is, understandable or not. But if you don't understand what I said, please use your imagination, whatever you think like, do that. Okay.
I think your English is perfect. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Good day.